Stellar Blade is in the news for a couple of pretty wild stories. We're going to start with the first one here, which is the latest one about Stellar Blade director going all in on AI as South Korea's games industry looks to compete on the global stage. The coming shift. I see what you did there. Much has been written about Stellar Blade's handling of its lead female character. Yes, because the journo mafia is a bunch of wokies that hate a beautiful female form. We all know that now. The culture war surrounding it. I mean, again, this is like you guys just mad at a beautiful woman. That's not really a culture war surrounding it, but okay. And development shift ups several eyebrow raising missteps. Oh, because of the racial slur that was on the wall unintentionally, but a bunch of wokies lost their mind because the spray paint on the wall said what hard R or whatever, when it was just two graphics that happened to be placed next to each other. As the game broke through into mainstream consciousness, regardless, the PS5 title was a big success, and a sequel is now in development, and I could not be more excited. Stellar Blade was one of the best games I played last year, and I'm hyped to get to the second one. Before we even get a first look at it, however, a news storm appears to be brewing. AI, generative or not, is the talk of the town. And by town, I mean the entire games industry, which is true. It's not just journos talking about it. The games industry is proactively bringing it up too. But I would also argue the games industry is just talking about it as a conversation piece, whereas the journos are attacking it if the game industry decides to like it. As Larian tries to toy with Gen AI while not using the tech for final assets, and publishers like Hooded Horse unequivocally dunk on studios using it. See, what they do is they use particular studios that push their narrative and their agenda while ignoring the ones that they disregard because it doesn't further what they're trying to get out there. The debate refuses to go away. Yeah, because some people don't give a shit. Some people like eating hot dogs and don't care what's in the hot dog. Some people want to play a game and don't care how the game got made. They just want to play a good game. 2026 may be defined by the widespread adoption or rejection of AI tools. And hopefully, by people finally figuring out the difference between tools that have been around for a while and the controversial Gen AI. The well has already been poisoned, sadly. My goodness, it's almost like this journo has an angle, this Fran Ruiz. The liberal hive mind is a real thing. If you don't feel this way, you are blackballed out of the industry. You have to have the same thought with all of this stuff. Do I personally think AI is a great thing for every game? No, of course not. But if it can be a good thing for the game, I'm all for it. I think the distinction needs to be made, though. It's like sometimes it's slop. And if it's slop, then it shouldn't be there. And it will be criticized rightly for it. But if it's some texture that you don't even notice, that you need to like inspect and like move leaves out of the way to see, who cares? Why would you want a developer to waste time on something like that when they could spend that time making something else in the game better? Shift Up CEO and Stellar Blade director Hyung-tae Kim is bullish on the whole package, it seems, which I am too. During a national briefing on South Korea's 2026 economic growth strategy, the developer claimed it's an essential tool for going up against large competitors like China on a global level. Yeah? Automation reported on and translated the news, first shared by Game Mecca. Anyone who's been paying attention to the games industry for the last few years is well aware of China's increasingly large presence, with behemoths like Black Myth Wukong. That must have hurt for them to mention. They don't like that game getting attention. And where winds meet, making waves and rising to compete against the Japanese and Western giants that have typically dominated the market. 100%. China has become an actual force in the game industry. And it's because they're not censoring shit, as opposed to Japan, that's starting to fall in line with the West and pushing all this censorship on everything. China's just like, yeah, have fun with that, bro. We're going to do what we want to do over here. Meanwhile, South Korea has started to exit the MMO-oriented creative trends and begun to punch above its weight with AAA projects. It comes as no surprise to see more and more developers in the country betting on AI, even if it's not of the generative kind, as its ambitions grow larger too. Again, what's the issue if it doesn't hurt the game? Kim argues that widespread use of AI will not result in people losing their jobs. It probably will. In fact, I would disagree. It will have a high likelihood of people losing their jobs. Yes, the games industry will become cheaper. Games will not cost $300 million to develop anymore. And they'll look as good, if not better, than what they were with these massive teams putting hundreds and hundreds and thousands, tens of thousands of hours into it for a game that doesn't make its money back. Because competing with major industries like China and the US will require not only utilizing all available manpower, but also making everyone proficient in AI. Press X to doubt. Again, I'll actually agree with the journo on this one, as immediately he stated one person could perform the work of 100 people with the assistance of these tools. So he either thinks you're stupid or he's stupid, because you can't say one thing and then say the other thing. I'll actually agree with Eurogamer on this one. It remains to be seen whether the adoption of AI assistance into the general pipeline really will make games bigger, better, or more profitable for publishers. It will make them more profitable. That's guaranteed eventually. It will probably make them bigger too. Yeah. Better? That's what remains to be seen. But either way, it seems like the conversation around this topic and the consequences of its general usage will not go away anytime soon, which, you know what, I agree with. I think that this is a very interesting topic of conversation. Every time I talk about this in my videos, I always get a few people commenting that they're so mad that I take the side of, I'm interested and curious to see what comes of it. A lot of people just want to shut down Gen AI and be like, no, none of that in games. No, that's bad. And I'm like, well, what if the game's really fun? What if it's amazing? What if it creates an experience that was not possible before, that transcends what your expectations of video gaming even could be? Now, maybe it will do that, and you'll be shocked. And if it doesn't, then no one will buy it and it will fail. And the slop will just fall by the wayside. The cream of the crop will rise to the top. I don't know what your concerns are with this, but yet some people just take a stand strongly against it. And staying on the topic of Shift Up and Stellar Blade, a much smaller note of conversation, but something I also wanted to bring up about it. Stellar Blade Studio Shift Up has gifted all of its staff $3,400, AirPods Max, and an Apple Watch. Now, this is the same Shift Up that gave everyone who worked there a PlayStation 5 last Christmas, I believe. Stellar Blade Studio gifted all of its staff all these things. The studio frequently gives its staff gifts to encourage talent following success. It's almost like you treat the employees well and they'll want to work at your company, and other employees will want to be there too. Just like when I was growing up, my dream was always to work for Nintendo. I know it's silly now, and looking back, like, man, Nintendo was nostalgia, but even in the time, it was just magical. There was something really special about Nintendo before it got wokeified and turned into whatever the hell it is now. But there was a time when Nintendo was just above and beyond anything in gaming. Everyone wanted to work there. And now it's turned into what it is now. But we see Shift Up. It's turning into a studio where people are like, they make based amazing games and they reward the hard work. What an amazing environment it must be to work there. Stellar Blade Studio Shift Up has once again given all its employees an expensive gift to thank them for the previous year's work. This is, by the way it used to be in the 80s and early 90s. There were these things called Christmas bonuses where people would get $1,000 or $2,000, which was a shitload of money back then. But that kind of went away with pensions and all that kind of stuff. It's almost like this is starting it back up, at least at one company. As reported by Seoul Economic Daily, the South Korean studio celebrated a new year by giving roughly 300 staff cash bonuses and Apple products. Company gave each of its staff a set of Apple AirPods Max, an Apple Watch, and a bonus of $3,400, whatever the W5 billion is, a total value of more than $4,000 per employee. This isn't the first time ShiftUp has given its entire staff the gift to mark its continued success. In January 2023, it gave employees iPhone 14s or iPhone 14s and other incentives. And the following year, it gave them all prepaid credit cards with $10,6,800 loaded onto them. Holy Nikes. In January, I'd almost be like, man, we kind of dropped down from what we used to get here. In January 2025, it gifted all of its employees a PlayStation 5 Pro and a bonus of $3,400. Then in June, to celebrate the sale of 3 million copies, it gifted everyone a Nintendo Switch 2. Read into that how you will. ShiftUp has previously explained to South Korean media that the regular bonuses are intended to encourage existing talent at the company. The Seoul-based studio was founded in 2013 by Kim Hyung-tae, who remains its CEO and chairman of the board. Summer 2024, ShiftUp achieved South Korea's largest initial public offering game company in 3 years, raising $295 million on its first day of trading. ShiftUp said it planned to use the IPO proceeds to diversify its game portfolios. So it sounds like while Stellar Blade 2 is coming, they might even have more. In November, ShiftUp announced a publishing partnership with Tencent for one of its upcoming games, Project Spirits, a cross-platform game coming to PC, consoles, and mobile, will be published by Tencent global publishing brand Level Infinite as part of its agreement. Level Infinite previously published Goddess of Victor Nikkei, the PC and mobile game released in 2022 before ShiftUp found huge success with the Sony-published Stellar Blade. Last year, ShiftUp confirmed it's planning a sequel to Stellar Blade with a projected release window listed in its financial results as coming by the end of 2027. Indeed, the company's May financial results suggest that the sequel to Stellar Blade is planned to release before Project Spirits. So, ShiftUp is definitely turning heads in the game industry, whether it's for employee retention reasons or AI being involved in their games and embracing it fully. You thought that they faced challenges with the journos with Stellar Blade 1? Just wait with Stellar Blade 2 when they use Gen AI and other AI in the game and embrace it fully. Just wait to see how they try to run the studio through the mud. There'll be some sort of, I'm calling it now, by the way, there'll be some sort of sex controversy at the studio that they'll bring up. They'll try to destroy the credibility and then run with the whole misogynistic, attractive girl boss, all this other stuff like they did with the first one. And then they'll try to cancel it with the Gen AI. Just wait. It's coming. To which I say, have at it. Good luck to you. I'll be first in line to get this game because I can't wait for it. But with that, I'll leave that there.